Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live video premiere. Today we do have latest news and updates on the Dylan Rounds case. More to do so with James Brenner's court case and as well a news article as well talking about it. So we've got a range of different material to get through today. Hopefully you're ready for it. Not done, I said, as much Dylan Rounds coverage in recent time because kind of reached that point where I've ticked most of the things off the list and it's just awaiting to see if there's any new updates or any past stories that come into play that need to be looked back at. This occasion, we're looking at the latest news in the Dylan Rounds case, and we've got an interesting article as well to read out, which may not always be easy to get a hold of. But shout out to the individual out there who was able to pass it on. I'm going to read it out today and share it with you. Okay. Also, shout out to Cleo for her presence recently, for her super chats. Very good of her. Very good. As well as Whatever for their presence. And, you know, they've been watching some of the funny videos as well recently. And Whatever has got a good sense of humour. So, good person. That's all fine. Just wanted to do that now, the shout outs. Regarding yesterday's video, I did about two. One was light-hearted and then the other one, I believe, was more to do with Dylan Rounds. Returning back to that. More so the discussions of how it seems as if Dylan Rounds is partially fading away because of other people's actions, which then has a knock-on effect. If you want to hear more about that, there'll be a link down below in the pinned comment section. Feel free to go and watch it after watching this, right? As well, today we can take another brief look at some conflict going on in the background. What I will say now, and I can repeat it again later on in this video, it looks like I was going to spread my arms out like that, but then I realised the camera angle doesn't quite fit in my arm span. That's a shame. But it looks like another prediction I made has come true. Another prediction Warlike Ref has made has come true, okay? So more about that later, right? We don't need to look back at previous comments because there wasn't that many to get through and some were replied to anyway. So what we can do today is just get right on into it. And we are going to be following a certain order. So there might be some stuff you already know, like you, Tom Evans, or you, Indiana, and then the odd other person, you might be aware of some stuff. We'll get to that eventually, but we need to look at the appropriate things in the correct order, the date, okay? So very brief backstory. First of all, we're going to start off with like a newspaper article, an actual physical newspaper, like a section within the article to do with Brenner in recent time. I think it's June 28th, 2023, I believe. And we'll go through that, read it there. And then we move on to what Glorindellen, if that's how you say her name, what she said recently as for the most latest news and possible analysis behind that. Okay, so let's head on over to the newspaper first and make sense of it. As we do go along, feel free to share your thoughts, opinions and reactions in the live chat box on the right hand side. And you can talk about a few other things in between. If you do notice any inaccuracies, any misinformation, switching and changing of info within these articles, feel free to list it in the comments or wherever, okay? As well, I was going to do a different video today. It was going to be a bit more of a creative one, but because of this coming on in, kind of breaking news in a way, this is obviously important, so that's why we're covering that now. And then the other stuff can follow another day, in case you're wondering what happened to that, right? So, let's move on right now. Okay, so here's the first photo of the physical newspaper. The reason why, you know, it's taken photo by photo is because you couldn't fit it all into one photo taken, okay? So for a better viewing experience, it's like this. So you see it says Happy Independence Day. Now that has passed by now. It's by Box Elder News Journal. And I can provide a bit of a backstory behind it too. some index, classifieds, education, fun and games, opinions, sports, etc. Bottom right, hopefully you can see it just about. Bottom right says Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Okay, so this is pretty recent, right? Because we've not really heard much from Brenner, Candice Cooley, the Dylan Rounds case from then till beforehand, you know, it's good to look at this to see if anything has truly changed, right? The last time we saw the Brenner's court hearing, that was, I can't even remember now, was it like a month or two ago or so? Not much has happened since. Was it May 24th when it happened? The last one? Could be. I might be getting mixed up, but it's been a while, right? Now, as for the Box Elder News Journal, to get a hold of this, to be able to keep up to date with the news within the area, you can look at the Box Elder Journal online, but it's a subscription thing. No, you don't have to pay $29.99. You pay less, but it's still kind of messy because there'll be other news articles and stuff out there where you don't have to pay anything for it. So you can argue it's locked behind a paywall, this type of news. Anything mentioned about Dylan or Brenner, it might be hard to get a hold of, right? Or it just feels a bit more restrictive, okay? As for the physical newspaper itself, you still have to pay for it, right, in real life, okay? Have we ever looked at this before? Have we ever looked at the Box Elder News Journal? Yes, we did once, okay? And it was actually the odd screenshot which was shared, posted by No Thanks Doug, okay? So, you know, I know people don't like Doug because of bad things he's supposedly done, whatever, whatever. But I need to say credit to Doug from No Thanks. And if people get in a twist or get annoyed at me for saying that, I'm just simply quoting and crediting where the material came from, okay? I've done this since day one. I've been doing YouTube for quite a few years now. It's important to at least try to give credit to people out there who may have originally posted this or that, right? Because if you don't, you know, it can lead to problems down the line. So I have to cover my own back, okay? Hopefully people understand. I know there'll be the odd people here and there getting a bit of a hissy fit, but just calm down. It's all under control. So when Doug in the past, when his channel was up, when there was less trouble going on, etc., he was covering the year in review of Box Elder News Journal 2022, okay? And it was just basically looking back on the year of the stuff that's happened, the stories, events, etc. And there was an article, there was a part within the newspaper itself to do with the Dylan Rounds case, and more so Candice Cooley. It was like a little section, the story told by Box Elder County Sheriff's Office in the Box Elder News Journal. Do you remember that? It looked like a really old newspaper as well. That's just probably because the lighting and the quality of the photo itself, which Doug presented on his channel originally. I had a little look at it, little analysis. It was kind of hard to read because of the camera angle and everything. But all in all, it was just, at the time in 2022, basically saying that Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, they've tried their best in the Dylan Rounds case. They're putting a lot of effort, a lot of time. You know, they've really gone at it, Medal of Honor type stuff. But Candice Cooley has been very problematic, causing trouble, argumentative, hard to work with, and releasing stuff that shouldn't have been released. That's basically what Box Elder County Sheriff's Office worded it as in that news article, that newspaper, okay? Let me know in the chat if you remember it, okay? Just wanted to let you know that we have looked at this news journal in the past, right? So a bit of experience there. Not much on screen at this moment, but if we do flick on to here we go. From page 1. In quotes, defense. If you can't read it, don't worry. I'm going to read it out for you. Okay. So it reads, counties, which includes Box Elder, with the financial backing of the state of Utah, in quotes, we have filed a case. It's considered a capital case covered by the Capital Indigent Defense Trust Fund, explained County Attorney Steve Hadfield to the Box Elder County Commission on Wednesday. In quotes, the judge has appointed a certified attorney to do that, so we have to apply and then the contract will be entered. Hadfield stated that the Capital Defense Fund will cover all defense costs in the case. James Brenner is charged with the aggravated murder of Dylan Rounds, a young farmer who went missing in the West Desert of Utah in May of 2022. Dylan Rounds' disappearance kicked off months of searches and media coverage, with investigators from the Box Elder County Sheriff's Department eventually charging Brenner, a squatter with a felony record, with Rounds' murder. Key evidence in the case came from a cell phone Rounds had set to record, which captured Brenner toying with the phone while stained with blood. The phone was eventually recovered by investigators from a pond near Brenner's trailer. The commissioners approved both grants and Brenner's defense grant application with unanimous votes. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, there might be some stuff there you heard or saw that doesn't quite make sense. Maybe some things you've never really heard of before, maybe because of how it's been worded compared to the past. Everyone in the chat right now, everybody watching in the background right now, just focus on in, because the way some of this is worded, very interesting. I've never heard it worded like this before, okay? And I'll just read it off again, just a portion of it, right? So where do we start first? On the right-hand side, once again, it says the department, Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, eventually charging Brenner, a squatter with a felony. On the right-hand side of the screen, can you see it? Let me just zoom on out so we don't lose focus. Box Elder County Sheriff's Department eventually charging Brenner, a squatter. So still, even now to this day, they're labeling James Brenner, also known as Jim Brenner, as a squatter in Lucin, Utah, near the grain shed property. And yet still to this day, there are many people out there that say Brenner wasn't squatting. So why is there such a disconnect and divide between the general public that seem to know that Brenner wasn't squatting, and then the media, the higher-ups, the authority claiming that he was squatting? Can anyone actually explain that? Anyone? Okay. But that wasn't the main point. It's further down here. Everyone make sure you're focused right now. It says, key evidence in the case came from a cell phone Dylan Rounds had set to record, which captured Brenner toying with the phone while stained with blood. I have never heard it like that mentioned before. Never. What is going on here? It's saying that Dylan Rounds' phone, that it was Rounds himself that had it set to record. What? Can everyone hear that? Can everyone see that? But the way it's worded here, it's claiming that Dylan Rounds was the one responsible for setting his phone to record. That Dylan Rounds was responsible for it. I've never heard or seen it worded like that ever before. Do the police know something we don't? Let's do a poll right now. The poll can be, and I'll word it in quotes. Quotes as it's mentioned here. Do you think that the police know more about the phone recording? than what we may think? Do the police know more than us? Yes? No? A little bit more? I don't know. Feel free to vote right now. So, yes, it was an opinion in the past by Candice Cooley, okay, that said she believed that it was Brenner that accidentally hit the record button. If he was picking it up from Dylan off the ground, whatever, hit the record and took it into his trailer. Candice Cooley said because of the old iPhones that you can accidentally press the odd button on the lock screen and then it instantly goes to the camera and starts recording. She tried it herself with old iPhones and got the same outcome. Okay, I could understand that at the time, right? Other people here and there were suggesting that maybe Dylan Rounds did it, like a guardian angel, that even though Dylan might have felt like this was the end, he wanted to record it, so there's some form of evidence to take Brenner down and get justice in that way, thinking ahead of time. I was kind of like on the fence at one point thinking, why would Dylan record or implement the thought of, right, I'll record all this going on instead of actually defending myself or running away. You know, it seemed as if what Dylan was giving up on the spot. It just didn't seem quite like him. We've been determined about farming. He would do anything and everything to stay alive, to continue farming, right? Why just stand there and record it? That's what I couldn't understand. So then when Candice Cooley shared her thoughts and opinions about it being accidentally started, the record button, it's possible. I've actually done it a few times here and there. I actually did it in recent time, hitting the record button and forgetting about it. You know, well, actually forgetting that I turned it on record and, you know, just completely forgetting. And then I looked down and I thought, oh, it's still on. When did that happen? So if I can do it, then I'm sure Brenner could as well. Yeah, you know, the Box Elder Journal by Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, they seem to have a different story on things. Saying that Dylan Round's cell phone, which he had set up to record. That's weird, that. And then it says, which captured James Brenner toying with the phone while stained with blood. The phone was eventually recovered. So when we heard about Dylan's phone with the recorded footage inside of Brenner's trailer, the 27-second clip, which could be a little bit longer, you never know. For all this time, we've been trying to think and kind of get an idea of where was the phone in Brenner's trailer? Was it resting on something? Was it face down, face up? Was it in Brenner's possession, in his hands, or was it just by the side, propped up in the direction of Brenner? In my mind, for all this time, up till reading this, I was like, maybe the phone was kind of put at an angle, rested at an angle, and the camera pointing towards Brenner unknown to him, as Brenner sat down, cleaning a gun, how it's been worded, with blood on his hands and on his shirt. Justin Round said that Brenner went to the sink or whatever he had in his trailer to clean his hands, wash the blood off. How could Brenner be doing, Brenner would be doing that hands free, right? If you're cleaning a gun, well, then the phone's probably going to be by your side or nearby. You're not going to have the phone in your hand whilst you're cleaning a gun. It's not exactly practical. And the same way, if you're going to wash your hands, you're going to put the phone down to be able to wash both your hands at the same time. You're not going to have the phone in your hand under the tap, if you've got a tap in the trailer, right? And yet, once again, it's worded differently here. It's stating that James Brenner was toying with Dylan Round's phone whilst it was recorded. So, if that being the case, basically Brenner was holding Dylan's phone at the time. Could that explain why it's only 27 seconds long, that the actual video itself only began recording when he was toying with it in his hand, fumbling it around, accidentally hit record, and then places it down to the side, and then goes off to do some other stuff? And then at what point did he realise, oh, I'm actually recording, that's silly of me, oh, I best delete it. you know? He must have known after he washed his hands, after he washed his gun. If he realised beforehand, then it just seems a bit weird, that. And I know some people could say, well, maybe Brenner was doing it recording as like a form of psychological warfare to say, look what I've done, send a message to people. If that really was the case, if he wanted to send a message to people, then why delete the video possibly? Or at least why throw the phone itself in the pond to potentially destroy that file in his mindset? Yeah, it just counters that idea. So the actual 27-second piece of footage, which depicts Brenner in his trailer, you know, if this is really true, what's mentioned here, that Brenner was toying with the phone, the footage itself must be very up close to Brenner's hands. You know, as Brenner's hands are on the phone, I'm surprised it didn't cover the camera, right? With your hands being all over the phone, really up close. But up close enough to see the blood on the hands, probably. I wonder if there's any blood DNA stuff on the phone. Don't know, it's probably been destroyed, that, because it was thrown into the pond anyway, so it would have been cleaned off. But if any blood on the phone could explain why there was some discussions about blood being in the pond area. But we're just going off subject there. That's just a little point in the background, okay? Just let me know your thoughts in the chat to what you think about this. The way it says that Brenner was a squatter, that Dylan Rounds was the one that had it set on record, that Brenner was toying with Dylan's phone in the trailer. I mean, surely there must have been a point where Brenner, if toying with the phone, put it down to the side for him to then clean the gun or wash his hands, as stated by Justin Rounds when watching that 27-second bit of footage in the past, right? I said you can't all do it with your hands full. Got to do it hands free. Anyway, anything else below? Says the phone, while stained with blood. The phone was eventually recovered by investigators from a pond near Brenner's trailer. Is it near to his trailer? Kinda. Okay. The phone, toying with the phone while stained with blood. I assume means Brenner stained with blood. Okay. Does it mention anything here, or does it not mention things here which we've seen elsewhere? Record, toying. Yeah, that's the thing. Everywhere else, okay, just about everywhere else in the official court documents, the newspapers, what Candice Cooley has said, what Justin Rounds have said, they've all basically said that Brenner had blood on his shirt, blood on his hands, cleaning a gun, and then washed his hands, washed the blood off, as told by Justin only. None of that is mentioned here. It's very vague. But what's mentioned here has never been mentioned anywhere else. So we're getting a different story once again. Let me know your thoughts, okay? Just zoom on out for a second. That's what it looks like. If you do want to pause the video, reread it, feel free. But let's move on to the next page. Here we go. So it says, county receives grants for indigent, I can't say the word, defence plans to apply for special funds for defence in Dylan Rounds' case by Nelson Phillips. Hopefully you can read it clearly. We start from the left, that's where it begins, and work our way to the right. Okay? So, it starts with, Box Elder County has been approved for 2 grants totaling $239,400 from the Utah Indigent Defense Commission, IDC, and has applied for an open-ended grant to pay for the defense of James Brenner, who is charged with the murder of Dylan Rounds. The first grant, totaling $54,000, will be used to provide $6,000 worth bonuses to each of the county's 4 public defenders, $10,000 for defense investigators and expert witnesses, and $8,000 for office supplies, office equipment, and transcription services. The second grant of $185,400 requires the county to match $356,055 of its own funds for a total of $541,455 and will be used to help pay support staff and ongoing contracts. The county has, with its defence lawyers, a portion of that will also be used to hire an indigent defence attorney that will focus on cases in Box Elder Justice Court, letting the 4 other lawyers focus on more serious cases in District Court. The IDC is a requirement under the 1966 U.S. Supreme Court ruling, Miranda v. Arizona, which states that people accused of crimes have a right to an attorney, and if they cannot afford to hire one, the state will provide them with legal representation. In most states, the state itself takes on the cost of providing attorneys for indigent defendants. But in Utah, the majority of those costs are borne by counties, with the IDC providing some funding in the form of grants. Box Elder County, I hate it when it's worded like that, used $300,000 from ARPA funds over the next 2 years to raise pay for public defenders, as the county was having a difficult time retaining lawyers willing to do the work. In the case of James Brenner, the county has applied to the Capital Indigent Defense Trust Fund, a section of the IDC that will financially support counties charging offenders with the death penalty. The fund is paid for the premiums provided by participating. So, just let me know your thoughts on that, if that makes sense to you. If you notice anything slightly odd, let me know. In terms of the costing of this, is this anywhere near the same cost as the Idaho 4 case, or less, more? Let me know your thoughts, right? Is that it? Okay, that's it. Just wanted to share that with you. Just about most of what was read out there, I don't think we've ever heard before. It's not really been worded like that. So it is new, it's updates. Even the talk about the key evidence from the past, even how that was worded itself was different to what I've seen all the other times. As I said, just let me know your thoughts about it. Does it make sense? Does it add up correctly? You saw it mentioned about the death penalty, I believe. Why is it talking about that though? Why bother including that within that article piece if Brenner has had the death penalty taken off him? Right? It's no longer on the table. Or could it be reintroduced down the line? Let me know your thoughts. We'll do another poll right now, okay? The next poll can be, even though it's been taken off the table, do you think there's a possibility that Brenner could receive the death penalty down the line in the future? Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Is it even possible, right? If it's been taken off the table already, is that it? It can't happen. Would Brenner have to be charged with something else? A new crime, a new charge for it to come into play? Or if there was like some new evidence within this previous charge, existing one, which, I don't know, changes the course, which would lead to it being deserving of a death penalty. Let me know your thoughts down below, because I'm sure there'll be more experts present who know about that type of stuff, right? So, just wanted to share that with you. 28th of June, pretty recent, okay? Not heard it mentioned anywhere else. Candice Cooley hasn't done any post. Find Dylan Brown's Facebook page hasn't said anything either. East Idaho News Channel, not done anything there. So I'm arguably on YouTube, with credit to the individual that provided the news article, I am the only person, once again, I repeat, Warlike Wrath is the only person on YouTube, once again, to have covered that specific material, okay? In the past, when it came to May 21st, 2023, which I think was a Sunday, I was one of the only and first ones to cover that event, in which Candice Cooley, someone else, a group of people, and a sheriff that were near to Lucin Pond at that time May 21st. No one else talked about it, right? So as a heads up, if you have suddenly joined, welcome. If you want to rewind back, catch up with the important news, feel free to do so. If you are completely a new viewer, or you're a pre-existing one, but you could pass it on to somebody else to spread awareness of this important news, feel free to like this video and share it with other people so people are informed on the Dylan Rounds case, the latest updates, and with Brenner, because it has been too silent for far too long. So this helps put things into perspective, okay? And it's also been proven a few times now that on my channel, that despite the noise in the background, my channel arguably with certain points at least, are the only ones for me to cover it, okay? Now, what we are going to do, we're going to move on to a different platform. We're going to go onto YouTube and we're going to look at a channel, Glorin Dellen, I think I said her name correctly, giving her side, sharing her knowledge of what she's heard about within the Dylan Rounds case with Brenner. We've looked at the 28th of June, but what about right here, right now, present time? Well, there is another update. Are people going to be surprised by it? I don't know. But we'll go on to Glorin Dellen's channel and check her community post, as that's where the news is talked about. Let's go on now. Here we are, as you can see. Just scroll down a little bit, click on that. So we've got the comment section now, which we'll get to in a second. True Crime Utah Glorin Dellen said, Jim Brenner's next hearing has been postponed. Instead of July 31st, it's now scheduled for August 14th at 1:30 p.m, going into the afternoon. Is anybody surprised by that? Let me know your thoughts in the chat right now. Yes, no, are you expecting it? Are you shocked? Let me know. I can imagine Candice Cooley being further annoyed, frustrated by this, right? It just keeps being delayed, dragged out. Sure, still the key focus is on finding Dylan Rounds, but, you know, if for whatever reason they were able to find Dylan Rounds' remains, would that speed up these current court hearings, court cases with Brenner, or would it still be slowed down and delayed? If it's to do with the attorneys, kind of slowing down, a bit of grinding with the gears, takes time, the legal process, you know, is it all Brenner's doing? Maybe not. Some of the attorneys with time not wanting to represent him, maybe. But I just feel that I'm not surprised. It's been delayed so much. Things have happened. We're just seeing it once again, like a cycle. And that's basically it. So, originally, well, to be fair, the July 31st one, that was to do with the attorneys, wasn't it? Coming to a conclusion there. That before July 31st, it wasn't, was it June or, no, it wasn't June. Or was it June? I'm trying to think, no, I think it was May. I still think it was May 24th, the last court hearing. And then, because it didn't really come to anything, because they still had to, at the time, deal with the two attorneys being assigned, basically said that in 2 months' time or so, or a month and a half time, that's when it will take place. And it's just been a countdown ever since. And to be honest, July 31st, we're still kind of far away from that date itself. You know, even if it was to go underway, there'd still be a wait from now till then. But to see this, but it's not happening. It's pushed back even further. 14th of August. Not good. Not good in a way. Especially if you're in a situation where you just want to get over and done with, move on quick. Yeah. I guess because of the focus of trying to find Dylan Rounds, still a priority, it might not matter as much that something like this is postponed, delayed, because finding Dylan is more important. But if you're in a situation where most of the stuff was wrapped up, the evidence, the remains, and it was all waiting on this alone, then yeah, it would be worse. I get that. Anyway, let's check the comments. So we got Tom saying, It's great that we have you to keep up on everything for us. Without you, we would be lost, I'd say, as a group. Thanks. There we go. What's this? I love it when we reach the court phase because we finally start to learn what was a fact and what was unfounded rumour. But it's painfully slow getting to the actual trial, unless he waives his right to a speedy trial. Okay. And then who knows? It still took 5 years to get Laurie Vallow Daybell to trial, and Chad Daybell is 8 months yet from trial. Candice Cooley could be right and he'll die before a trial. But I was reviewing the footage from East Idaho News when he entered the courtroom. Yes, he's lost a lot of weight, but I saw some muscle definition in his forearms. So fingers crossed it's from a healthy diet, no alcohol, and a bit of exercise. Okay. I mean, what's your thoughts in the chat? People watching right now, do you think that it will drag on for years upon years? Like the examples listed here by Glorindellen? Do you think that's a possibility? I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've not been thinking like that, and that's probably just simply because I don't really follow court cases at all, right? So I'm not going to know maybe the average wait time, but that really is the case. Yeah, what happens from now till then, okay? Sure, the court cases, the true cases, trials in the courtroom, documented. That's where to some people, the real interesting, hard-hitting stuff is delivered, and what we get to hear about, the true story of the case. But the length of time it takes to get to that point, kind of long, is what Glorindellen says. So what happens from now till then, whenever it truly is? Well, I guess if there are stories, events to look back on, reflect on, to make sense of, any new additional information people come out with and reach forwards to, we can look at that. Theories mainly, okay? And that's not a problem. As long as it's not like wrapped up and disguised as a fact when it's not, keep away from that and just openly talk about it, share ideas and opinions, and look back at possible events that did happen to make further sense of them, right? Because what else can you do in between besides that and trying to keep the case alive for as long as possible, okay? It does get harder as time goes on. It does. But you just do what you can, right? Anything else mentioned here? No, I don't think so. I mean, it will be interesting, I guess, to tally it off and, when the court trials actually do come about, to see how much of what was said within the Dylan Rouse community was true, right? Could it be like a major filtering out process? Makes you think, right? What else do we have here? We have Bob Farrell, okay? Bob Farrell said recently that I am confident and I will bet you money, watcher crazy, that Lincoln Kane is untouchable and won't be taken down. Not a chance. But, he's wrong. Anyway, what does Bob Farrell say here? I am sure they will keep postponing it until next year. Unreal. Keep up the good work. Okay? Procedural stuff leading to a preliminary hearing, which has yet to take place. Yeah, I get that. So, this smaller scale things going on, if this has been delayed, not even the true part of the actual case, like the true main part, then not looking that good. If the more, I don't know if you call it simpler, the small scale stuff, if that can be messed about and dragged out, it doesn't say much about the main part of the case trial. Raven Gypsy, Ty Glorindellen for the... Oh, I've done it again. I've made that mistake again because Raven Gypsy said TY. She was basically saying, thank you, Glorindellen, for the update. But I wasn't sure if Raven Gypsy was calling Ty Corbin because people call Ty Corbin TY. Oh... I wouldn't, I only made that mistake once, but it was in the past. It's happened again. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for the update. Badger, of course it is. That's why it takes 2 years to get a trial or a plea. The Sherry Black case had the sentencing within a year of arrest after a guilty plea, but in his Facebook post going back 7 years prior to his arrest, he made a comment at one point that he'd not fight it without explaining why it was. I'm so grateful for the resolution in a speedy time frame for my old school chum and neighbour. Okay. Is that it for the comments? Thank you. Okay. So, let me know your thoughts about that. Are you surprised or not? So, if we just put that aside, we move on to the next talking point about recent conflict, which I guess some people would word it as drama, okay? We're not going to look too deep into it this time, just briefly look at the surface area of it. What I do want to do though is provide a bit of overtime, extra time on this video itself at the end for people to carry on talking so the stream itself doesn't end. Okay, so if Watcher of Crazy is present, you can carry on talking and, you know, say what you need to say, okay, without it being cut off. I'll probably just add some photos of plants. I know Dale doesn't quite approve of that, but it's just to enable the video, the live stream to keep on going, okay? So I'll just provide them at the end. And if people do join in last minute, anyone watching, feel free to explain to them and redirect them, guide them back to the start of this video to catch up on what they've missed, okay? So just to tell a bit of a brief backstory, okay? I made a prediction recently, okay? I got it right once again, right? What was it to do about? Well, I believe it was the last Bob Farrell live stream, okay? I know Bob has another one coming out soon. I don't know if it's today or in a few days' time, can't remember. The one before that, which has already been up live, right? Bob said he got timed out or he got locked out of his StreamYard, whatever. And it was between Watcher of Crazy and Jim Terry, talking back and forth. But by the end of the live stream, they came to some kind of agreement, said what needed to be said, kind of on better terms, handled it fairly well, and it seemed all okay and somewhat calm. Well, that's what people believed. That's what people thought and assumed. Now, me at the time, because I've seen past encounters and how it's gone, like with Salty Pancakes and Jim Terry when they kind of made up on the Shank Ladies live stream, and then the next day after, it was literally the complete opposite and it all went downhill, okay? I was feeling that something like that could happen once again in recent time now. And in a way, that's what happened, okay? So they said what they said on the live stream. It ended like that. It was fine, okay. Following day or the day after, more trouble arising once again, right? I've not looked too much into it because I don't need to be consumed by it that much. That's why I just want to lightly cover it here, okay? If the right people are in the right place at the right time, they can share their thoughts in the live chat right now to provide a further backstory to fill in any grey, patchy parts, okay, which might not be fully explained. You're welcome to do that. I'm just going to look at the surface area with what I can see in front of me, right? So we'll just take a look at it from Watcher of Crazy's point of view, as well as Mr. X, okay? Let's head on over to YouTube now. Here we are. This is one of the first ones. Just briefly read it. Watcher Crazy's post. Please do your part and report the Rumble channel. I just submitted the following email to support@rumble.com. A moderator. Subject line, complaint in response to Jim Terry TV live calling. Okay, we'll just check the comments briefly. What's this? By Mr. X. So, if you didn't already know, this is Mr. X. The Mr. X. The one that aligns himself with Jim Terry. The one with the mask on his head with the glasses and wonky hat. Okay? Yes, his main channel was taken down from YouTube, terminated, but he created an alternative account, a default profile, as you see here. Why? Well, he did it so he was able to basically comment on people's live streams and also people's posts and share his thoughts and opinions, okay? Just wanted to let people know, just in case, you come across a certain channel out there and you're wondering, is it the real person or is it a fake imitation? This is Mr. X, joined 14th of April 2023, more so in recent time. I'm just thinking of something, 14th of April 2023, isn't that the same date when Betty Hayward created her YouTube account, her new one? Or is that the 23rd of April 2023? I don't know, it just seems kind of close together. Bit weird. Anyway, we move back. What did Mr. X have to say about this by Watcher's post? Mr. X said, "We filed a complaint against you as well." We filed a complaint? A complaint? Isn't the word complaint better used in this sentence than a complaint? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, it says, "Your mass striking attempt is ridiculous and harassment. We also have filed a copyright claim report on you, True Crime Deep Dive Tree, and Salty Crew for streaming Jim Terry TV. If Rumble is not going to do anything to Mike Irmer for reading Jim's social security number out live on air, then I doubt anything will come from your continued harassment on Jim Terry TV. Focus on the cops showing up at your house today. The new word for the day, continuance. Good luck." What are the responses? Can't see the replies. I don't know what's happened there. Sometimes you do newest, it will show up. There we go. Who's this person? Killer Hypoxia. And just who do you think you are? Oh, wait, don't tell me. You're just another keyboard warrior who loves to hurt other people whom you've... okay. Who is this Legion of Doomski? He was on my channel once talking about not having clean sheets. But I guess Legion of Doomski is pretty consistent because he says, ha ha ha, skid mark. Mark in Mark Terry. Okay, I get that. Take those rotten hose off your chinless head. Ha 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 ha. You are always the victims. Everybody else are them. Okay, right. Skid mark. Ha ha ha. Maybe captain of the whatever will fly over here and save you. Ha 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 ha. So is this Legion of Doomski account, is this by Salty Pancakes? You know, the focus on the hose and the chinless head part kind of reminds me of that story time where that story was written on the Pancakes website about Warlight Ref and his group, criminal underworld gang or something. Just reminds me. Just click here. Blue Butterfly, you are so scared of Watcher. You won't go on panel with her, but you'll stalk her comments. Not only are you a loser, you're a coward. You lie as much as your lips start to move. How many times have you lied to Jim, your brother? I've seen you lie right to his face about comments people wrote, not just mine, but others. Okay. So they're the responses. And that's what Mr. X had to say in response to Watcher Crazy. So after that, kind of making up between one another, and now it's like, right, going after one another in a sense. But, you know, each person will have their own reasons, right? Like Watcher Crazy has her reasons, and then Mr. X Jim Tay has whatever theirs, okay? I'm going to show you that little one. We just go up a little bit more. Then we got that one. You know, I find it highly amusing that two dudes blame me for putting misinformation out about Michelle when one is supposed to be the greatest PI in the world. If anyone can just answer this little question, who is Michelle? Okay, which Michelle are we talking about? Anyone explain? I knew a Michelle on my channel. They had a pink profile picture, and for a certain amount of time they were using the profile picture photo of me with the fake wig on. It was approved. It was okay. They were an okay individual. Then they switched to a heart one during Valentine's Day and remained like that for a bit. Then Michelle went missing in action. But then there was another Michelle on Jim Terry's channel, right? So which Michelle are we talking about? Anyone in the chat, feel free to clear that up. That's just a follow-up there. What does that say? Cops never showed up to my house today. I haven't streamed anything. One term you seem to forget, Mr. Know-It-All, is fair use. Another is libel. I don't really care about your issues with anyone else. Oh, and I posted about the continuance way before you all heard about it. Lol, I met with the DA before court ever happened and the state is not ready to proceed. You'd report number? I'm sure I'd like to see it. Oh wait, I can tell tomorrow and get. Best thing for you to do is leave me alone and okay. And stop meddling in other people's affairs. Okay. In an attempt to harass, stalk and intimidate me. I'm not part of the case except for being a potential witness. Are you so ignorant you don't understand what that means? And then some comments there. We don't have to get through them all because I know it can spark off more tension in an unnecessary way. Legal lesson of the day. Definite. I can't even get the words out today. I'm not doing too well. Mouth is spazzed out. Apart from the amount of times I've been screwed over by YouTube in recent time. Final update by Watcher Crazy at this moment in time, 1 hour ago. Think I will sit here today and wait for this cop to show up. At least I will come to the door and talk. I don't need to hide behind a Ring doorbell and keep quiet until they leave. I'm hoping he's cute because I am a sucker for a man in a uniform. Well, I've got some bad news, Watcher Crazy. Besides that visit, you ain't going to be getting any others, are you? You ain't going to be coming across any people in uniforms when you're trapped on Degen Island. No, the best you're going to get is Dale coming out of the bushes with a few leaves attached to him. Not good enough, right? But, you know, what can one do when you're trapped on the island? Limited clothing. Okay, maybe Miss T has got the wardrobe section out. Dressed as Men in Black, sure, fine, fair enough, but I don't think it just goes out. I think there's a deeper reason behind it. And don't worry, I'll be exposing Miss T shortly in another video upcoming down the line. Be on the lookout for that. Let's just see the comments, okay? Kathy Waters popping up. This guy called Joe. What if Marky Mark is in a uniform? Watcher. A chin-up uniform might keep him from getting laughed at if he walked up to my door. Otherwise, I'd have to call the SPCA. Okay. So, what, you need like one of those buttons at the top of the collar to hold up your neck or something? I think a neck rester would work, but, you know, I don't think Miss T is going to give it to other people to use. Okay. Yeah, my question, yeah. It's okay, police guy showing up, but who's going to be doing the handcuffing, right? Who's got the handcuffs in the first place, right? You know, does Watcher Crazy have to watch out? Or does the police guy that's coming around, he's got no clue? You know, open the door. Police, sir. Watcher Crazy pounces on like a Bengal tiger. Ooh. But it looked like it was resolved, okay? Watcher Crazy already knows exactly what's going on. It's you. Me, okay. So what this goes to show is I don't have to, you know, just watch out for Miss T, who, you know, we saw it documented in the past. I was handcuffed as I woke up. No clue what was going on. Miss T responsible for that. The beginning of corruption taking place. Now Watcher Crazy is stepping on in too. So it's like a 2-on-1 situation. I've got to be careful, right? But the thing is, she said left, right, and centre. Excuse me, Watcher Crazy. Yeah, that's fine, but, you know, we need to change it up a little bit. What about diagonal? When are we going to go diagonal, okay? Isn't that right? That's good. I mean, to be honest, if the shack lady came on in and heard about the handcuff situation and the talk all about that, she'd be like, well, let me talk. I don't like vertigo, man. You got to be chaining me up appropriately because I do not want vertigo. And then she'll go into a little Russian experiment type voice of, oh, yes, Watcher Crazy. I'm glad you could step in. We're doing some mock-shaped therapy session. I know that you have not got turkey. You got no clothes either. That is unfortunate, but don't worry. Shack lady is here. Shake Shack time. It's time to give you a turkey makeover. Don't worry. You got nothing to worry about, comrade. Does anyone remember when the shack lady did that weird, that interesting, unique accent and impression? I don't know of what it was supposed to be, but it lasted for about a few hours. So she did well with the stamina there, I'd say. But yeah, that's basically it for that. So I'd say for now, that's about it, both with the Dylan Rounds case and the other background stuff. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you got any comments, any questions, leave it in the comment section. Make sure to check out my previous video, link down below as well. If you got any grievances, feel free to note them too. We are gonna, well, I'm gonna say goodbye now, but the video is gonna continue on for a little bit longer, okay? So you yourself in the chat can continue on talking, okay? And just to throw one more thing in, I can't even remember the person's name now. Was it called Joey? It was like of a guy, I don't know if it's him or somebody else, that left a comment elsewhere on Watcher Crazy's post saying, oh, Warlight Ref, he needs a co-host, he needs this, he needs that, he needs a panel, he needs a call. Well, first of all, it's not a true live stream call-in, so it wouldn't exactly work. And second of all, there are many, many channels out there more successful than me, but they do the same thing, where it's a one-man band, one-man army. So it is doable, it is possible, okay? You know, you think about it, even if it wasn't a true success, the fact that a lone individual can get this far and be this consistent without too much boosting in the background or having to be held up by other people to that extent, like live in call-ins, I think one is doing a decent job there, okay? To be able to hear it from different points of views, yes, that is good, it makes sense. Is it needed here? Well, it can happen in the live chat itself. Fresh, raw responses without the cost of drama and conflict. A good trade-off, something you wouldn't get in an actual live call-in panel type show, okay? The fact that I can give many thousands of different points of views within a singular video to the point where people don't know if I'm giving my opinion or what, because there's so many things talked about, but I'm speaking on behalf of all the people out there, what they think. So although people may not physically be present on camera right here, right now with me, what I'm saying is what they're thinking. So it's all under control to whoever that random guy was with the profile picture whining, saying Warlight Ref is boring. But interestingly, just interestingly, they mentioned about Warlight Ref has a boring, monotone voice. And that has actually been mentioned a few times now with other people down the line. First of all, the pattern I've noticed is the people that do complain, whinge and whine have zero content on their channel, first of all, and can be a default profile. Second of all those people that have accused me and said that I've got a boring monotone voice, from the looks of it visually, they've all appeared to be males, so no surprise there. And as well, it clearly shows that most of them have failed to grasp and understand the idea that I can do over 15 different accents and impressions, more than what they could ever do, okay? So you look back on some other videos and you'll get a voice. Now, one thing I don't quite comprehend, and I do find it absolutely stupid this, okay? The thought of trying to understand this from their point of view, saying that Warlight Ref has a monotone voice or this or that, it's called a balanced voice, okay? If I increase my tone, my pitch, my speed when I'm talking about a certain thing, a certain topic, a certain person, it could seem like I'm siding more with them than the other person. Called pure imbalance, okay? At times it'll be more light-hearted, and then that anything goes in a sense where it's a bit more loose but not problematic, right? But during the most important times, talking in a neutral voice is needed for a neutral discussion and neutral opinions and, you know, neutral balance, right? Clearly, those people in the background complaining about a monotone voice do not understand or grasp the idea of it in the first place. No wonder why we've got a dead-end channel, okay? Just how it is. As well, I said, you look back at the other videos, you see the different tones, accents, it's all there, it's all under control, right? All under control, all under control. And you know what I just don't quite understand? It's absolutely stupid when I think about it, okay? And the moment I think about it, my IQ drops from 116 to about 0, okay? I know some people could add in a little insert joke and say, what? Didn't think it could drop below 0 when it's already at that point. Huh, very funny, yeah. I've got a lampshade on my head. It must mean I'm a bright person, man. The moment that lampshade touches my head, I become bright in here. There we go. Maybe I need to wear it more often. But no, I don't have it with me. So for now, Miss T's neck rester will have to do it. Looks like I've got Tainted Ink's eyebrow upon my head, or it looks like a bridge or some kind of like happy rainbow, but this time it's grey, it's dull, dark, okay? Almost as monotone as my voice, supposedly. But you think about it. What other tone am I supposed to use or put on? If I put it on, then it's not as genuine, it's not as real. It's a bit more fake, it's a bit more, you know, not as serious. And we're talking about serious stuff, so you gotta be appropriate for that. But if I was to put on a different like tone or talk a bit differently, I'd be accused for that as well. So right now I'm accused and, you know, criticised for talking in a monotone, boring voice. But if I suddenly said the next day and did a new video and say, "Hi, welcome everybody, we're covering a missing person case, a person that has died and passed away and they're out in the desert right now. The family are crying." But as you can see, I'm really showing a lot of emotion and care and empathy because I'm really sad as well about this case. That's why I'm smiling and talking in a really happy, high jolly voice. Yeah, let's try and solve this case. I'm really interested, but I'm also really touched emotionally, as you can see by my facial expressions. Yeah. Bitch, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Get a grip. Get a grip. You start talking like that, don't go well. I've seen it several times. News reports, more so with the terrorist attacks within the UK over time, whether it be the news reporters or more so the general public, and they've been talking about the event and what went on, whether it be that arena one or the London Bridge attack. And the way they cover the news report, they're kind of half smiling and saying, how does it go? It's like the half smiling, it's like, oh yeah. And it was like people getting stabbed all over the place and there was all blood everywhere. And it's like, why are you really why are you really getting really involved? You want a piece, or you want a knife right in. Come on, get a grip, okay? Makes you really think who's the real psychopaths out there, the way they seem to fantasize and get excited about that, and that's the general public for you. Whether they're caught up in it or not, they seem to be excited by it. Everyone goes on about all these victims out there during these bad events, and you see them in the little news interviews and they're kind of smiling as if they're enjoying it. Get a grip. I know it sounds a bit ironic me saying get a grip when I'm wearing this stupid thing on my head, but you know, is what it is. We take it off, there we go, back to normal. Was the hair impacted by it? No. Let me know if my face appears normal in this video, okay? Because the last one, I don't know what the hell happened, but I looked really pale, but I looked glowing from what some people said. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it's the lighting. I didn't touch anything. I didn't adjust anything. There's no beauty feature on the camera or whatever you call it. There's none of that. You might get filters on other platforms, but not on standard video camera, right? I have no clue what happened. Did the video malfunction? I don't know. Face looks normal at this moment in time, and it looked normal after the video was recorded yesterday, so who knows? And you know what? Miss T was adding in possibilities. Have you not been eating much? Could it be that? Well, you know what, Miss T? When you're on a desert island, okay, Degen Island, where there's a limited food intake because someone out there is eating all the food. What about poor Rafi? Yeah? Even that bakery, Betty Hayward, Betty Buns, where's that? It's open sometimes, but closed often. Disappointed. But I think the back door is open round the back. And I know Campos Tacos likes her back door being entered into. But, you know, when you think of a taco, the front and rear are both exposed. So you can fill the rear and you can fill the front of Campos Tacos. I mean a taco in general. Okay? Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. As I said, the video's not truly ending because there's going to be photos after this and you can carry on talking. Just in case Watcher Crazy needs to, you know, fill in any blanks, any backstory to what I've not included in this video. Okay, just so it's fair. So, thanks for watching. See you next time. We'll see what happens next, which twists and turns occur next, and if there's any more predictions predicted by me. For now, goodbye and good night.